Outgoing lawmakers in the 9th National Assembly and their aides will share a total of 30.2 billion naira as gratuity when the assembly comes to an end in June. Lawmakers will also be entitled to go away with their official vehicles valued at roughly 5.5 billion naira in total. Our Rice correspondent Omo Bazoe reviews the exit package.
When the 9th Assembly comes to an end in June, lawmakers in both chambers of the National Assembly will share 30.2 billion naira as their exit allowances. They will share the money with some of their aides. Investigation by Arise News reveals that the money in question has already been captured in the 2023 budget of Nigeria as passed by the National Assembly and assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari.
If you want to insist that the National Assembly members are taking humongous amounts of money from the federal purse as severance, then you must juxtapose it with the number of persons. To be also fair, you must also say what a senator, for instance, is entitled to as a severance.
The severance allowance represents 12.6% of the 238 billion naira budget allocated to the National Assembly, raising questions about the need for it at a time when there are strong concerns about lowering the cost of governance.
What you want to ask yourself is the 6 million naira, part 6 million naira that you are giving to Senator Abamoro as a way of saying, thank you for a job well done, bye-bye. That is too much.
Nigerian lawmakers are believed to be among some of the highest paid parliamentarians in the world, with additional mouth-watering allowances that include housing, cars, and even their wardrobes. Despite all of these, Senator Gershom Bassey from Cross River State still believes it is not out of place to reward lawmakers with a severance package after serving the country.
If a senator is over 60 or over 50 or whatever it is, the institution should take care of them, because we continue to bear the name of senator for life. So, I mean, you should carry the name with some level of dignity.
The 30.2 billion naira severance package for the 9th Assembly is 7 billion naira higher than that of the 8th Assembly, and it is considered by some to be on the high side for a country with some of the poorest people in the world. Governors are giving themselves gratuity. Yeah. Lawmakers have their own gratuity. Yes. Ministers have their own gratuities. Yes. I'm sure the president will have his own gratuity. Yes. And when we put all of this sum of money together, you don't think they are too much for
they are actually
a country with very low per capita income?
Yes, they are actually too much. It's not as if the money is too much for what they are doing, but when you compare to how the nation is, the pulse of the nation, and you look at the humongous amount of money that is going, I think we will say it's too much.
Payment of severance package or gratuity to lawmakers and their aides has been a practice at the end of 4 years in the National Assembly. In the Senate, President of the Chamber, Ahmed Lawal, is expected to receive about 7.45 million naira. His deputy, Ovie Omo-Agege, will smile home with 6.9 million naira, while the remaining senators will be entitled to 6 million naira each. In the House of Representatives, Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila will be entitled to 7.43 million naira, leaving his deputy, Ahmed Wasi, with 6.86 million naira. A further breakdown shows that the remaining 358 honorable members will pocket roughly 5.9 million naira each. Equally troubling is that each lawmaker and some of their aides will be entitled to go home with their official vehicles, worth a total of 5.5 billion naira for the 469 federal lawmakers. They are also at liberty to go home with furniture and equipment, including laptops and computers in their offices.
When you are buying your vehicles, you pay for it over time.
Okay.
What about the furnitures that are going to go with the fridge?
It's deducted from this,
television.
This money that you're talking about. It's all deducted. Anything you take from the National Assembly is deducted from the money that your final allowance.
So it's not like you're just cutting away government property.
No. You can't. Can you cut away? You can't cut away government property.
Only an handful of lawmakers will be returning in the 10th Assembly. But the implication of that is that provisions will have to be made for additional equipment as well as other furniture for the new intakes. Omo Bazwaye, Arise News.
Right, we're expecting to be joined by our guest. He's the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center Executive Director, Awal Rafsanjani. He joins us shortly. But in the meantime, I mean, Sulai, let's look at this. Beyond the emotions around the fact that Nigeria right now is in financial dire straits. And, some would argue, can Nigeria really afford to part with 30 billion naira? And that's different from what the governors will be going out, home with. And of course, like you heard Omo say there, the president will be going away with something. But really, I mean, I heard a lawmaker actually say, look, it's proper to take care of those who took care of you. All right, we now have our Rafsanjani. Awal, good to see you on Newsnight tonight. It's been a while. How does this really come to you when you hear that lawmakers will be going home at the end of their tenure with 30.2 billion exit allowance? Does it bother you in any way?
This is very disturbing in the sense that cannot afford to continue with this waste and looting of public treasury. A situation whereby workers cannot even get minimum wage, a situation whereby workers cannot even get their salaries, a situation whereby our hospital had been liquidated, a situation whereby our schools, both primary, secondary school, and tertiary institutions are completely bastardized, a situation whereby infrastructure are completely absent, and for public officials, whether appointed or elected, who have a jumbo salaries and allowances and other government, to now be collecting this is clearly morally bankrupt. It is clearly robbery of democracy. It is clearly robbery of and abashing of states, local government, and even federal accounts. So anybody was right thinking will not endorse and support this kind of wrong, accumulation, or cornering of public resources at the expense of majority of Nigerians. And this is the reason why you see political violence in this country, because when public officials and appointed officials are assured that apart from the money they got, through their salaries, allowances, and privileges of government, and other, opportunities that they have with other citizens who are equally contributing and development in Nigeria are not even getting that, then definitely they will increase political violence. They will increase manipulation of the electoral process. They will make sure that the integrity of the electoral process is absent, because they know when they get there, they are going to get this, large.
Awal, let me jump in here. Awal, thank you for your time. The matter looks like deja vu, like we've seen it before, and this is like a recurring, problem for Nigerians. Now, speak to us so that we can at least put a stop, if we can, to this. Is it possible? Because these are the lawmakers, these are the representatives of the people. These are the people that ultimately should be able to put a stop to this. So how can this happen when they still think it's necessary?
So that is why when we have people with integrity, when we have patriotic leaders at national levels who are giving trust to run the country, they will be able to take the right decision. You are taking large sum of money in the name of allowance, in the name of salaries, and other privileges of government. And some of them, like you, they have been collecting pension. And some of the governors who have served in their state for 8 years or for 4 years, they come to the Senate. When they are leaving the Senate, they pack the same money. Every 4 years, they pack a lot of money in the name of severance allowances. We cannot afford to continue, at the expense of, suffering Nigerians. So part of the corruption you have in the system is that when people who directly benefit from, law, they manipulate the law, make the law to suit their own interests, So some of the governors, before they left office, they created a law that enables them to continue to pack the resources of the state, while majority of the people in the state are not even able to have access to water, drinking water. Now, as governor who have spent 8 years or 4 years, you have now legislated a law that will enable you every year changes of cars, hospitals, abroad, getting all sorts of, crazy, unimaginable amount of money. For goodness sake, democracy is not robbery. Democracy is not a platform for people to over-enrich themselves. Democracy is not for people to
again,
come
apologies for butting in. Let me quickly throw this in before Ngozi comes in. I'm truly looking, Nigerians are concerned. We're looking at the people who have elected these people. You spoke about men of and women of integrity. It goes beyond all of that now. They're already there. Can the people activate the recall process? Should they still not think that this is very important to look into or to revisit?
If you have people who fear God and who cares about the people of Nigeria that are dying, that are suffering, that because of lack of resources, they are not able to go to primary school, able to go to secondary school, they are not able to go to tertiary institution. Women who are dying, simply because they want to give birth and no access to, maternity, no access to even mobile clinics. If they fear God and they are worried about this, they will not be packing this amount of money, because the money we're talking about, it goes to, for example, the national. Look at the billions, 30 billions severance allowance to members of the National Assembly. This is despite the fact that jumbo salary and allowances are going to these people, and every 4 years they will collect this money, and for the governors who even went ahead to even legislate that themselves and their deputies and even the speakers, they will also be collecting this, money every year. Honestly speaking, it shows that something is wrong with understanding of what democracy is all about, because democracy is not a license for using official position, political corruption. You siphon public taxpayers' money through the use of democracy, through the use of electoral process. Some of the governors, they appointed up to 1,008. So by the implication is that a state where, like, you have River State governor, where he has thousands of aides, it means that all of them, they are going to be given this, jumbo severance allowance at the expense of the people.
Mr. Rafsanjani, well, that's one way of looking at it. But the argument also is being made for, some of these public office holders who, in some instances, many of them leave their businesses, they leave their career, for public service to serve the people. Don't you think, this whole issue of corruption in public office may have some kind of link to that lack of or absence of security for the future after their tenure in office? So is it really unfair to say that these people deserve, some kind of security after their tenure?
No, please, let's not mix things. They are not working free. They are actually being paid the highest salaries and allowances in the country, So you are being paid salaries, allowances, your housing, your car, everything paid for, and privileges of government, you are also getting it. Just because for you to come and serve for 4 years or for 8 years, as the case may be, and they are going with this. So for you who even serve for 4 years, you get all this money, and then another 4 years, you get, in addition to all the jumbo pay and other privileges of government. Please let us not rationalize and justify outright looting and stealing of public taxpayers' money. The truth of the matter is that those who are doing this thing, they appear not to have fear of God because it is a trust given to them, and they are using trust given to them to abuse it for legislating to have permanent, severance package, for themselves. Why must it be a permanent thing? Because you serve for 4 years or you serve for 8 years. Then somebody who has been working for 30 years, for 25 years, cannot even get his pension and gratuity. Let's also look at what these guys are doing. A lot of workers have not been paid for 6 months, for 1 year, on their monthly income. How are they going to feed themselves? And they are equally contributing to governance and development in their either local or state or at even national level. So we cannot continue to justify this. It is abuse of trust and it cannot continue. If we want democracy to last, if we want to strengthen democracy, if we want to improve financial integrity in this country, we must not continue to abuse the trust given to the public official to be enriching themselves. Look at the amount of money. If you have served as a soldier, in the case of the President Muhammadu Buhari, you are already collecting pension and gratuity as a retired, soldier.
Okay, Mr. Rafsanjani, very quickly, I mean, are you saying, if I hear you clearly, and if Nigerians make, a good sense of what you're saying, that the practice should be scrapped totally, or should it be reviewed in a way that will reflect the present economic situation that Nigeria finds herself?
Yeah, I mean, we cannot sustain it. Even if we can sustain it, we cannot be abusing public resources. Okay, not talk of one we are borrowing to do. Remember, many of this money have to be borrowed from commercial banks that we are paying heavily to come and do this jumbo and bonanza. Why should we do that if we really have the interests of the country at heart? I think the salaries you have been paid, on monthly basis, allowances you've been paid on monthly basis, the privileges of government you have enjoyed, is enough to be grateful to Nigeria and Nigerians. So the question of perpetuating this
is where I jump in again, Awal, if you let me again, apologies. And quickly here, you spoke about Nigerians. It is safe to say Nigeria and Nigerians are in dire straits, because every time we thought we were going to get closer to fixing things like this, specifically in the National Assembly, it falls flat in our face. For instance, we've seen civil rights activists like yourself being elected as legislators, and at the end of the day, they too have been beneficiaries of the severance package.
Well, I cannot remember anybody like me who has been elected. I have been, in the struggle for over 30 years. And I've been consistent. I've been doing go and take all the things that I've been doing right from my student days to date. I've been focused on what I'm doing, and it is completely for the interest of Nigerian people and my country. So if there are anybody who claim to be an activist and he's also doing what these other corrupt people are doing, then I don't think it is in the same category. I think maybe perhaps he misunderstood to be an activist, but no activist will want to endorse or support this robbery of the public treasury. It is not possible, because you are working based on ethics, based on morality, based on patriotism, based on the love of your country, to make sure that things are
let's not start dropping names. We know we have notable names, some from Nigeria's North Central, some of them from Northwest, activists, some of them
who actually came out with this a number of years ago.
And they benefited. So we'll leave it there.
Thank you very much.